everybody. I think we're still waiting on some viewers, but we got started a little bit late, just a couple minutes this evening. This is the second episode. Oh, Lucy! Hi, little wing. This is the second episode of the Witching Hours with our fancy new background. And we have a special guest this evening. This is Charity from Aquarius Rising Tarot.
Hello.
And she is an amazing tarot reader, among other things.
Yeah, everyone's going to be in for a good night tonight. It'll be interesting.
So it's not a reading night tonight. That will be Friday. So come back Friday and get your readings. This evening it's just about tarot. It's all about tarot. We don't want to forget my lovely co-host, Gina the Frost. Back
Everybody.
again after our Halloween episode. This should be a regular thing for us, I think. Hey, Wanderer. Oh, thanks for contributing some points to the tarot giveaway. You guys are racking them up.
Speaking of which.
So to start out this evening, there goes Frosty, adding some more points. Yay. So to start out this evening, Frost Giant has his paranormal news.
Yeah, we'll start with the news. First article in the news tonight is the Falcon 9 launches DART. A SpaceX Falcon 9 successfully launched a NASA mission that will deliberately collide with a near-Earth asteroid to test a technique that could be used to deflect the trajectory of any future asteroid on a collision course with Earth.
Okay.
So it left on November 24th, and it's going to send out a prototype of something to crash into an asteroid to see if it can push it away. Yeah.
That's interesting.
We'll just check it out. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Let's just blow up some space stuff. Whatever. What was it called?
DART.
DART.
D-A-R-T.
Oh, Vart. What is it?
DART.
Oh, with a D.
D-A-R-T. Like throwing.
I thought you said fart with a V, and I was like, well, they just should have called it fart then.
Yeah. So let's see some of the things from here. In September 2022, the spacecraft will collide with Dimorphos, a moon orbiting the near-Earth asteroid Didymos at more than 24,000 kilometers per hour. The impact will change the orbit of Dimorphos slightly, demonstrating how such a kinetic impactor could be used to change the trajectory of a threatening asteroid.
Who names these things?
Trajectory. I can say that word. Trajectory.
We got some more points. We got some more points to the giveaway. Fumbi and Little Wing. And Lucy says they said the asteroid isn't in the path of Earth right now, but watch them push it towards Earth. I think you're right, Lucy. Because we're real special like that, us humans.
Or like break up little pieces of it, and then I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That it would just blow up, and then all of a sudden it would be here.
You know me. I know this gets political, and I try to keep politics off of here. But I'm kind of in favor of what's going on with SpaceX and all that stuff. So usually I'm like for all of the space stuff we're doing, but I think this one is a little bit.
Yeah.
It's cool because it could help, but it's also a little scary, I think.
I mean, I guess we got to see if it works, right?
Yeah.
We got a follow a little while ago. Castle Cutie, thank you for the follow.
Is that is your number 200?
What?
Nice.
Oh my god! Are you serious?
200.
Little hype in the chat, guys, for 200 followers.
It is? Yeah. I thought it was I thought I was still on 170 something.
Yeah, it was 199 a minute ago, so if you got one more, it's 200.
Somewhere I lost 20 people. Yay!
Okay. We hit 200 for the second time. Is that what happened?
200 for the second time? No. That's amazing. Awesome. It's only because Charity's here. That's why. She's good luck for me.
Well, you've always been good luck for me.
Oh, hello, Castle Cutie. Thanks for being my number 200. You should get a special prize or something. I don't know what it would be yet, but
Yeah.
might have to think of something. Hello, Shy Tarot. Welcome. All right, what's your next? Wander gave me a
The second
costume
story,
change.
the second, will you work on that and I'll work on the
Yeah, I'm
second
gonna
one
find
story, which
something.
is essentially just a short one that Seti, the
Oh,
search
this
for
is.
extraterrestrial intelligence. I don't know if
Oh,
everyone's familiar with that, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's been like movies made of them. They're the ones with the big satellite dishes out there in the west out there, it's using radio signals to try to find contact with extraterrestrial life. So there have been interesting things that have happened with them, but nothing that no direct communication with aliens yet.
At least
They
they're allowed to
are
talk about.
yeah. Um, they
Oh,
are
good God, I can't get it out.
they're
Here's my costume. A little headband.
they're using new prototype hardware that's going to allow them to
Oh God.
increase the search, further and than they have before.
There we go.
As the VLA goes about normal observing, the system will allow an additional and valuable use for the data we're already collecting. Just really kind of a note, SETI is something that I kind of keep an eye on. Sometimes interesting news comes out of there. So they have new hardware and new stuff that they're going to be using that will allow them, quote, to allow more powerful and wide area surveys
Cool.
that will be vastly more complete than any previous searches,
There we go. Got it.
says Andrew Simeon and Bernard M. Oliver, chair for SETI.
So they're
So
basically upgrading their stuff.
they're getting all new stuff so they can do
Yeah, corpse
more
bride.
extended sweeps. Yeah.
Cool. Well, maybe they'll pick up something this time. They'll definitely be able to hear when they blow up that asteroid.
Yeah.
And
Ow!
the next story for tonight is one that medium Jenny Lee actually sent me earlier in the week that we were talking about.
From my friend Joe. I wish he was
Yeah,
watching. I love Joe.
scientists claim that quantum theory proves consciousness moves to another universe at death. So, a book titled Biocentrism: How Life and Consciousness Are the Keys to Understanding the Nature of the Universe has stirred up the internet because it contained a notion that life does not end when the body dies
Which
and
we,
that it can last
all of
forever.
us weird
Yeah.
woo woo people knew that already.
Uh, I think the interesting part is that the author of this publication is a scientist, Dr. Robert Lanza, who was voted the third most important scientist alive by the New York Times.
Oh,
No
wow.
doubts that this is possible beyond time and space. Lanza is an expert in regenerative medicine and a scientific director of Advanced Cell Technology Company. Before he has been known for his extensive research that dealt with stem cells, and he was also famous for several successful experiments on cloning endangered animal species.
The cool
He's been
quantum.
involved with physics,
I've
quantum
heard of this
mechanics,
guy
astrophysics,
actually.
uh, but
Did you
kind of
say you've heard of?
skipping.
Did you say you've heard of him before?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
I've
yeah.
actually heard of the scientist.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hmm.
When I read the Stephen Hawking's book about quantum physics, the one for dummies, because I couldn't read some crazy one, and it was talking about particles being able to show up at the same time in two different places or whatever, and the possibility of them being like when they went somewhere, they could be anywhere. Like that kind of thing definitely fits with
Mhm.
our soul stuff and how when we're not in a human form, we can be everywhere at once. So I think
It
that
makes
quantum physics is catching up with, you know, what intuitive weirdo people like us already knew.
right.
Yeah.
I
So
love quantum physics.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's fascinating.
yeah. That's always been that was always one of the most fascinating things uh, when they had guests on for like Art Bell and Coast to Coast back in the day was listening to these quantum physicists who would come on and Schrodinger's cat and all of his different theories about uh, quantum entanglement and all that kind of stuff is very, very interesting. In this story, it talks about Lanza points to the structure of the universe itself and that the laws, forces, and constants of the universe appear to be fine tuned for life, implying intelligence existed prior to matter. So here we're talking about getting into a little bit of intelligent design. He also claims that space and time are not objects or things, but rather tools of our animal understanding. The theory implies that death of consciousness simply does not exist. It only exists as a thought because people identify themselves with their body and they believe that the body is going to perish sooner or later, thinking their consciousness will disappear too. If the body generates consciousness, then consciousness dies when the body dies. And of course, he kind of goes on to, his theory is that consciousness can't die, that the data essentially collected by the consciousness can't be erased. And so that it's possible, that, he believes it's more than likely that the consciousness continues, and that's what we
I mean, the
call the soul.
only law of science that I even remember was that energy can never energy can never die. It just changes form.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
we're energy, then when our bodies die, it would only make sense that the energy that's running this body goes somewhere else.
Right?
Not that it
Yeah.
stays in a coffin or something. Like my lovely hat here makes us think of Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
I can take it off now. Yay. My 5 minutes is up. Thanks, Wanderer, for making me wear that one. That one wasn't too bad. It was better than
And,
some of the other ones. Although now my hair is all crazy. Let's fix it.
and the last little news article I had tonight I thought was interesting was that November 24th, so today, marks the 50th anniversary of the D.B. Cooper skyjacking.
Oh.
Uh,
For those
so
of people who do not know about that, you should enlighten us about what that is
yeah, so
about.
50 years ago this evening, a mysterious individual who later came to be known as D.B. Cooper became part of American folklore by way of a brazen skyjacking that remains unsolved to this day. Uh, in 1971, a nondescript man wearing dark sunglasses and wielding a briefcase boarded a normal routine flight from Seattle to Portland. Once in the air, he slipped a flight attendant a note stating that he had a bomb, and after showing her what appeared to be the explosive device, informed her that he wanted 200,000 in cash as well as 4 parachutes.
$1
And
billion.
and
1 million billion dollars.
200,000.
the money they landed, the money was delivered to them. The plane took off again, and he jumped out of the plane, and no one was ever able to find him. There was an interesting thing in here. I'm trying to see if I can find the date.
Which they did.
So
They made a reference to that in one of the Loki episodes.
yeah, that
They
Loki was
said that
DB
he
Cooper.
was, yeah, that Loki was him. Yeah.
um,
Naturally.
Yeah.
the
That makes sense.
kind of like the biggest break they've had in that case was 5 years after. So I guess in 1976, a boy found one of the bags of money uh, near a
Oh.
beach in Vancouver, Washington.
Huh.
But it
Oh,
never, it never, it never resulted in any kinds of arrest. And just a few years ago, I don't know if I have the date here, but sometime very recently, the FBI like made it a cold case. Like they're not searching for him. 2016, they suspended their active investigation.
Well, it's been 50 years. I mean, is the guy even alive
He could
still?
be. He could be.
I mean, he could have very well died when he jumped out of the plane if he lost one of his bags of money. Who
Yeah,
knows what
and it's
happened
still
to
just
him?
one of those cases where internet sleuths and stuff like that are
Yeah.
still trying to figure out. Think they can figure out who it was. Yeah, I guess back then, airports didn't have the level of security that we do now with like
No,
manifests and all that kind of stuff.
definitely
So
not.
yeah,
All right. Well, good news this evening. Got
that's that's the news.
some good paranormal news. Asteroids and aliens and DB Cooper
Quantum
and
quantum
that's
physics,
quantum
quantum
physics.
reality, and
Yeah, good
yeah.
mixture of things. All right, so let's get started on the tarot. Stuff with Charity. So before we get really started, we need to plug her stuff because if you haven't gone on YouTube and watched any of her videos yet, you are missing out.
Oh, thank you.
She is amazing. I'm trying to find your page. Here it is. Okay. Copy and paste. All right, there she is. She focuses on love readings, and she does love readings for every zodiac sign every month. And I don't know how she keeps up with it because that's a lot.
It's because it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. And she also
Yeah, so
is
tell us.
yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
Oh, well, I do intuitive tarot, and I have a special focus on like divine connections, soulmates, twin flames, that sort of thing. But every month I do a general love reading for every sign, and really any kind of relationship can come up. And I'm different from what I do. A lot of the readers really focus on what's happening with the other person. I kind of do a 50-50. Like I really focus on the energy of the person watching and the energy of the person they're connected with, because we mirror one another in relationships, and everything that happens has to reflect in many ways what's happening with us, and the only way we can fix anything is by fixing something in ourselves. So I do like a mirrored kind of love reading, and it's a lot of fun. You get a lot of insight. I really enjoy it a lot.
Oh,
Yes, they're very
one
insightful.
one question I have about this, and
They're
this
eerily
is
insightful.
yeah.
I know sometimes I know things and I'm like, whoa, how did I know something so specific? Like
Yeah.
somebody will email me later and I'm like, yeah, I guess I was picking up on you. It's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
One question I have for you about that, and this kind of is something we've discussed private last time we were talking about doing the show, is I'm always surprised because I've gone on there and watched a couple of Gemini readings, and I'm always surprised. Um, I'm always surprised at how well you're able to connect with people um, over the internet, like over um, what without seeing them, without knowing their name, all those kinds of things. Do you want to talk about that at all in terms of like
Yeah.
how you think that works?
It kind of amazes me, especially since I started doing personal readings and people ask me if I need like their birthday or their picture. And I don't need any of it. All a person really has to do is agree to sort of connect in with the energy and focus, and I can pick up on them. So when I go to do a reading, I basically, because I do believe that the spirit exists outside of time, there's no space. I actually ask to connect with all the people that are going to be drawn to it and read it and see it, and I hone in on that energy and then I connect in with them. So it doesn't matter if they watch it like a month later or 5 minutes after it uploads, because there really is no time. Our souls are eternal. If I connect in with those people that are going to connect in with me, I can sense and pick up on their energy. So,
So
and
it's
it's,
all about intention, which is
mm-hmm,
like the biggest part of this kind of work is setting
yeah.
an intention before you start. And I didn't know that that's what you do, that you purposefully set the intention to connect with anyone who's going to see it. Like that's the right intention.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like I'm trying out different intentions until I can find like the one that works, and clearly the one that you are using is the perfect one for what you're doing.
It does work really well. And the other thing with the signs, if I'm not doing like a collective reading, I will, before the reading, like I'll think of that sign. I'll think of everybody I know with that sign, some of the people that I'm connected with, and I'll really get into that energy. And I'll even think of like my own placements, like my own Gemini spaces and stuff. And so I'll specifically get into that energy before I go in. And different things will come up for all the different signs. And I'm like, how do new things keep coming up? I'm just one person sitting here talking, and new
Yeah,
things keep coming up. I love it.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, and we had talked briefly about that when we were getting
Yeah.
practicing for this, about how it is really weird because I do the same thing. You know, when I'm on here with you
Yeah.
guys on Twitch, like all I have is your screen name and what you tell me. And somehow I can connect in with you and your, you know, a lot of times it's your loved ones on the other side too. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's
I,
really
I think that's
fascinating.
what surprises me the most is because it's not, if it was like the person's real name, if it's, Bob
Mhm.
McGee, and at least you're connecting in with like that person's name. But when it's Purple Fruit Loop,
Yeah.
it's like weird that you keep that, but I guess it's just a conscious,
There's a
so
soul
someone
behind
like
that
me, yeah,
username
Yeah.
that you can pick up on.
yeah, for sure, yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, true,
Yeah.
true. It's just, I
I
find it
haven't
very
I haven't
interesting.
had purple
Yeah.
Fruit Loop yet, but I did have tiny
Watch
grapefruit
Purple Fruit Loops
recently.
gonna come in here and they're gonna be upset.
A couple weeks ago, I had the tiny grapefruit juice. That's pretty close to
Yeah.
purple.
That's
Yeah,
cute.
purple Fruit Loop. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to know, what do you know about the history of tarot?
Oh, the history of tarot is pretty fun, actually. It was initially, I believe, invented kind of at least as far back as we go, because written history, like 1500s. It started out as more of like a parlor game for royalty with your traditional like spades, cups, like the pentacles, but it was something else back then. And what's the other one? Tell me. The wands.
The
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
And it had the basic suits. So when I really tried to do like a deep dive and look into it, there was this parlor game that royalty would play where they would lay out like the cards and actually write poetry and things based on what came through. And then they began to create these triumph cards, which later became trump cards and later became the major arcana, that were dukes and duchesses. A lot of times they were actually like the family, like the royal family, like based on them. There's one like that, one of the oldest tarot decks we have. It's in a museum and it's an Italian family, and it's actually the family. And
Oh,
then
wow.
it began being used more like 1600s for divination and things like that. And then there was like a guy who was like really big somewhere in the 1600s that decided it all worked together with like Egyptian gods and goddesses and astrology and brought all that in. And it gave it like more use for divination, but no one truly connected it back to Egypt. Like it kind of began. So, but it goes way back. I mean, what is that? Like 1400, 1500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
So we're
then it
talking six,
began,
700 years
Yeah.
right?
old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then, of course, more recently, in the past like 100, 200 years, it became more mainstream and very often used for divination and things like that. But the initial game, it had like all the same cards, kind of as what we have in like a regular deck of cards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they began to create, yeah, those triumph cards. And then they began to create cards for like every aspect of life, like death and, the emperor, the empress, and the fool, and all these different aspects of life. So that's, I mean, from my study, I read that it initially started out as a game and became used over hundreds of years for divination. And then of course now it's all over.
I can
Like,
see if people were writing poetry and things and like creating things while they're playing it, that kind of would be
Mhm.
where it would lead to,
right?
because the creation of things is, it definitely kind of comes from our soul anyway, a lot of times, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I have another question for that, but I wanted to remind chat real quick. If you have a question tonight for
Hmm.
our guests, feel free to
Put it in the
type it
chat.
in chat, and we will monitor, and we will.
Make sure your
I
question
think,
gets
I
answered.
think, yeah, I think she is following. But if not, we will make sure your question gets asked tonight. So feel free to put any questions in chat. So the connection from what, because I know a little bit of the history. Obviously, I haven't studied it as much as you have. So what, how, I know early there was a connection, obviously, with Christianity, especially coming from Renaissance period.
Mhm.
So what was that kind of connection and how did that evolve? Do you know how that evolved over time?
That I don't know. All I know is that when the royals really got their hands on a lot of things, they became, I mean, like more intertwined with Catholicism and things like that. But I don't specifically know
Okay.
how that happened. So,
I
but it
did.
seemed like almost everything, like pagan things, got Christianized, and like all sorts of things have over the years. To
Yeah,
that that
I did some research into the High Priestess card because I ended up doing a drawing of it, and it has the pillars of from King Solomon's temple is the pillars that are in the
Whoa,
back of it. Yeah, so there's definitely some Christianity mixed in there.
Yeah, and I know
yeah.
Little Wing said, my reading with Charity was so amazing and accurate. She knew so many things. Some I could confirm, and some I didn't even know about yet. I would even say it was life changing.
Oh my goodness,
Aww,
thank you.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
that's wonderful.
I would
Thank you
say
Yeah.
so much.
I would say that my readings that I've gotten from you have been life changing as well.
Yeah.
I would say the same about yours.
Thank you.
My personal reading that I got from you, I was blowing up your phone the whole time I
Yeah,
was.
I loved it.
How do you know this?
I don't know, Charity. How do you know your stuff? It just
I
comes to
know,
us.
right? It just comes to you. It just shows up. But for me, I look at the images and the cards, and all of a sudden, I'll see things I've never seen before. It's really interesting.
Yeah, divination.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So one of the readings at some point, it might have even been the one that you did for me originally, you mentioned something that about having a gypsy heritage and that
Oh,
gypsies also did tarot. So I was
hmm,
interested in what you know about that.
yeah. So my great grandparents, I don't know how far back, from one side are from what was originally Czechoslovakia, but now it's like divided up. But they were actually like original Bohemian gypsies, and it's kind of in our blood. A lot of people in my family are psychic, which is
Yeah.
funny because I come from a very religious family,
Mhm.
but then they can hover above, they can see things, they can see the future. And it's like, there is something that is in that is in our blood. But we go back to Czechoslovakia before it was, I think, divided into two. And the gypsy tribes there, like that is like my ancestry on one side. So,
I guess
and then I
that's
have
kind of what
Native
I
American, so I get a lot of
Oh yeah.
things I feel like, yeah, there too.
I guess that's what I think of when I think of the crystal ball user is like a gypsy lady.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Oh, Madame Nazar, right?
Mhm. Yeah, from
I have
um,
a spirit guide that is like very traditional, ancient, like you can just picture it with the crystal ball
Oh,
and
that's
all of that.
cool.
When I was initially getting really involved, I like had a vision where I actually went into her tent and it was like my ancestor and she taught me things. So it was pretty
Wow.
cool.
That's
Yeah. It
amazing.
was like a meditation.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I'm
well, that's
glad I
kind of
asked that question.
that's kind of interesting too because we're talking about talking about Christianity, where a tarot and stuff like that is kind of considered to be occult now. I would think
Yeah.
that most people, but there is that Christian connection
There's a
with our.
tremendous connection.
Yeah,
All
I know there was a folk
spirituality.
card
Yeah.
so I think that's an interesting connection there.
It is. Oh, there are things that because I studied the Bible backwards and forwards because the way I was raised, and there's things that are like confirmed through tarot from the Bible, and it's all connected. It's all the same divine as far as I'm concerned. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
just the way things have been interpreted over the years,
Yep.
switches it up.
Yeah. Doesn't matter
So
how you spin it. It's all the same thing.
Yep.
so I guess I didn't know about kind of the ancient, but at least old history that accompanies tarot. What about more like I know like kind of the age of spirituality when the turn of the 20th century there when you had the spirituality movement and we get the creation of like the Raider Waite deck and stuff like that. Do you know anything about the history during that time, or what changes, or
A little
anything about those
bit.
decks?
So, initially, tarot could only really be used by like royal families and things like that because of like there wasn't like common printing and things.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
then they were like hand painted, hand created, and so you'd even get like people that worked for royalty that began to get their hands on tarot cards and things like that. But then when the printer, like when they were able to start printing, and I don't remember how they like wood, it was wood press, they were able to begin to distribute it more. And then I don't know when it was that literally somebody whose last name was Ryder and somebody whose last name was Wait hired a woman to do all the art for it. And then they created their own interpretation based on many of the things and did the research. And yeah, then we get our traditional, it is my favorite. But you'll get the traditional ones, with all of your traditional. There's our high priestess.
There it is.
All of our traditional images, but I feel like I can't remember the dates. I feel like it was like 1900, but that's when it really began to get into the hands of like more and more people, and it had to do with obviously things being able to go into print instead of being painstakingly hand painted, by for rich people. So
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a movement of the spiritualists using them because it was, I mean, they were so interested in anything that had to do with spirit.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything
Yeah.
about
I don't know the
the
details of that. I
spiritualists
just know like of
using
the
tarot.
people that.
Yeah. Little
Yeah.
Wing
I always
said,
felt like there was a.
Little
Oh,
Wing
go ahead.
was
Yeah.
saying that when she was studying Eastern philosophy, that yes, all the religions are and stuff are the same thing. Sure is.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's all one source as far as I'm concerned. We're all one.
Yeah. Yeah.
My next question for you, because you use a lot of astrology when you're talking about
Mhm.
cards, and like I don't know the connections, nor do I think that I could even remember all of them. But
It's a lot.
yeah,
There's a couple cards where I'm like, where are my notes?
yeah.
Mm.
So is that like from tarot, you know, tarot history that all these cards are connected with and um with different zodiacs, or is it you interpreting it too?
It is, I believe it is built in with that every one of the major arcana represents a different sign.
Okay.
And I feel like there's two cards kind of for each sign, but they have a lot to do with the planets. It's so complex. Oh, I have a sister who like knows this stuff really well. Um, but it's kind of complex where it's like based on the planets and then the planet that rules the sign. And so some will be from the planets, some will be from the signs. I don't know when that all came together, but I know that even like early like astrology is found in like Hebrew temples and things like that. And then I assume when the person who claimed that it was all Egyptian brought it in, a lot of astrology was brought in with that because astrology goes way back with that. But there is actually all the wands, obviously, are the fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, the cups are the water, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. The swords are air, thoughts, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, and then the pentacles are earth, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But then all the major arcanas kind of represent a sign. And people interpret things differently too.
Yeah,
So
it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
And
it helps me.
I'm always amazed that you know them all.
I think I've studied astrology since I was about 15, so it's been
Yeah,
like for years and years. So when I found the connection between tarot and astrology, it really helped me learn it really quick.
yeah.
So,
Maybe I
all
need
right.
to do that some more. So
So we have a
yeah,
question from
question.
Castle
Yay.
123
oh,
Cutie. Which tarot card would you say is one of the most sorry,
Oh,
would you say is one of the most misunderstood by readers?
I would have to say for me, there's two of them, and I feel like, well, maybe three. I feel like it has a little bit to do with the art of the Rider Waite specifically, that make a few cards look really dark and shifty. And I hate to just hold these three up because people are the
The
devil card, the
devil.
five of pentacles, and the seven of swords are misconstrued so often. If you go to the true history of the cards, they have more to do, like the devil card has more to do with like coming down to earth. And once you come to earth, you have to abide by the laws of earth. You're not an astral body anymore. You're in a physical body. There's going to be challenges. You have to abide by the laws that are here. But it's Capricorn energy. It's the energy of the earth. It's the energy of the center of the earth. And everybody's like, oh, it's dark, it's toxic, it's whatever. It's not at all what that truly is, like, not for me. And then the five of pentacles, they're like, oh, you're out in the cold, something bad has happened, you're poor. This also has a lot to do with choosing to come to earth. Like when the astral body comes to earth, we're aware that we're going to have these challenges and we decide it's worth it. And then the seven of swords, a lot of people say, is about lying, cheating, stealing. It's about calculating your moves. It's about planning. It's about sometimes in life you need to be selfish. So for me, those are the three most misconstrued because they have these really negative connotations. And I don't feel that there is a single negative card in the tarot. I feel like each one represents different aspects of life and the human experience. And there is no negative or positive, there is just being. So,
Yeah, I think the tower one could be like that too because it looks like
right.
everything's
Yes.
destruction. But if it's something bad that's ending, then that's a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge one because people get the tower and they're like, oh, there's going to be a change.
Hmm.
There's going to be a shakeup. Something's going to break down. It's going to be. And very often when you're going through a spiritual awakening, because the star comes right after the tower, you start to realize and learn all these things. And then all this stuff that you built based on what you knew in the past starts to fall apart because you know better now. And that's just
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
As you grow, you have to create new things. And
And
so
that's a good
sometimes
thing.
something falling apart can be a huge relief.
Exactly.
So,
So
yeah.
we have Maggie's here. Yay, Maggie. And Salty
Good night,
Frog
Maggie and Salty Frog.
donated some 8,000 channel points to the giveaway. And Little
Hmm.
Wing had a question earlier. She said, I've asked Jenny this question, but I'd like to ask Charity too. How do you know when to stop shuffling? Do you follow the same pattern every time? Yes, that's a
You
good
know,
question.
that's that's the trickiest thing because when I first started tarot, like when I first started working on it, I would literally lay all the cards out and hold my hands over it, and then my hand would feel hot and I'd know that was the card.
Oh.
Over time, for me, I learned to sense when I was holding the card like in my hand because I would feel like the energy like heat up. But sometimes they just fly out. So you know how they are. You're
Mm-hmm.
shuffling and they fall
Yep.
out and they'll just jump. And but often with me, it's like I'll be going and I'll know, like I'll just know, like it just comes out in my hand, like now we have the Wheel of Fortune. So
I
good
I
luck.
will say,
You're lucky. But they'll sometimes they just introduce themselves. It's almost like they have a mind of their own. They come out or they tell you like this is the one. There's no real explanation. But some people they'll just go like, okay, three shuffles, then I'm gonna lay it out like
Mm-hmm.
this, and then I'm gonna put, and then I'm gonna take like the top few cards, like that
Yeah.
sort of
I
thing.
think
And
everybody
so
does it differently.
they
Yeah.
do.
yeah,
They really do.
I
For me, I sense it like in a
Mm-hmm.
sense in my hand, like I'll feel the energy and I'll know it's like it's almost like a hot card.
mm,
Hot potato.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
I
I
will
don't think
consider.
about it. That's why people
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, why are you talking while you're shuffling?" It's my unconscious mind that's doing it. If I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at it and thinking about it, I'd pull the wrong card.
Yeah,
Mm,
definitely.
I would consider myself probably the most novice tarot reader. I'm maybe on my sixth or seventh reading of all time. Uh, but I did a couple readings after I received my personal reading from you, and I noticed that some cards were kind of flying out in the
Yeah.
reading, and like they tended to be like some of the really interesting cards in that reading. And so when I've done any of my readings, I don't get the hot hand. So I actually just kind of try to shuffle fast and let and
Stuff
take the
fall out.
cards that actually kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
get get messed up or start to fall out or do fall out or whatever, and that's worked for me. So just watching you
Hmm.
do that, like that was one of the things that's kind of helped me not get anxious about like, oh no, I don't know what card to pick.
Yeah.
Being
Right.
a very uh, being a novice for sure.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention that Castle 123 Cutie. In response to your question, they had asked the question about the misunderstood cards, and they said so accurate. And I think the Seven of Cups
Cups. Yeah.
is misunderstood as well.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That one is that one. I don't feel I have seen only one tarot reader actually know the meaning, like the true historical meaning of that card. And it's about focused manifestation. So people will say, oh, I was looking for it to see, it's you have a lot of options, there's all these different things happening, you're trying to do too much at once, and it could be any of those things. If it's in a love reading, a lot of people will be like, oh, this person's a player, they have all these people they're saying. It really is about how we manifest what we focus on, and you have to choose a cup. So if you're just manifesting because you're stressed or out of fear or because of what you saw in the news or heard from a friend or talked, you're going to have all these sort of accidental manifestations in your life because you're not focusing all the way on that one cup. And it's
Hmm.
like, if you want something to manifest, you kind of got to pick a cup and focus your energy there and see
Yep.
what can happen.
I just read that book, The Law of Attraction.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was
It,
see.
it
Oh, there it
there is
is. It's right
so
there.
much in that. The ancient wisdom, like they knew how we attract what we focus on. And if you
Hmm.
don't focus, then you're just going to have confusion and not really know what your choice is, and you're going to accidentally manifest some crappy stuff you didn't mean to. And
Hmm.
that's all just kind of like life. But if we really focus, we can
Choose the
manifest
cup
that
we
cup that we really
actually
want.
want. Yeah.
Mhm.
What did I miss? Maggie said, just got out of belly class. Yay. Listening while you're
Nice.
driving. Good. I'm glad you're here. And Salty said she's been lurking. Awesome. Okay, so my next question for you is numerology. Because
Yeah,
you always know the numbers too. Not only do you know all the astrology stuff, but then you're like, oh, this
yeah,
number 4 is
and
whatever. And I'm like,
and
what the hell? Like, how does she know all this stuff?
yeah, and just so you
I
know,
have
when
to
you
say,
yeah.
a lot of people know better than I do, but I have a lot of like certain things that have they do have connections with the astrology and with the numbers. And in all of the tarot, the 1 through 10, the numerology is completely tied in because the 1 is the beginning of things. The 2 is when you create something and now you can see it on the outside of you, and it's actually happening, it's actually existing. The 3 is like that creative process. It's almost like finding out you're pregnant or deciding you want to do something. It's like the third thing is coming in now. Then the 4th is when it's almost like when the baby's born, like when something is concrete, when there's order. So 4 is like order. 5 is change. 6 is the human experience, things like other people noticing and things manifesting. 7 is like time, waiting, confusion, things like that. 8 is then making like decisions and realizing, oh, I accidentally maybe manifested this. Now I can choose to release things, choose what I want. 9s are when you're almost there. Like, and 10 obviously is the completion of cycles, and it goes directly with the numbers, that each number has an energy.
Hmm. Yeah, because you always say what the number is, but like I, you know, my knowledge didn't go that deep. So
The
I'm glad that you
Yeah,
remember all of that. Not that I'll remember it
and
all.
it's so interesting too when you get a reading because you get it's like three levels. It's like you get the tarot reading and the cards, the message from the cards, but then mixed with the numerology and the astrology.
Hmm.
I noticed you having like like you'll. It seems like you have like this epiphanies during your reading where you're getting like where you're getting confirmation from like these other things of what you're getting in your cards is right. I just kind of, through the readings I've seen, it seems like that's what's happening when you
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of
It,
that, sometimes you'll say that you see certain numbers, or like you're seeing them in your mind, right? And
probably.
like, and that you'll say like, "Oh, I see 1111," and that I know that
Oh,
this is, that this is
it's
I'm on
usually
the right path or something.
it's the time on my phone
Oh, it's
while
the
I'm
time on your
recording.
phone. Are you serious? I thought you
Yes,
were like
I should
seeing them in
probably
your head.
clarify that because I'll look up to see how, like,
Yeah.
occasionally at the, at the screen, and all of a sudden I'll see 444
Oh my
111, and it's
God.
basically how far I am in the video. But it's confirmation. So when you,
I thought you were seeing them in your head, but you're seeing them on your
that would be
phone.
cool.
Oh my God. That kind of happened to me. I was like I was getting ready to sign up for a class. I think it was the past life class I just did. And I was like, I don't know if I should sign up for this. I had already signed up for a class that week, and I looked at the time, and it was 8:22, my
Yeah,
birthday.
that's your
So,
birthday.
and I was like, well, shit, now I got to spend this $30
Right.
because it was
But
like it was saying, no, you got to take this class. It was
mhm.
important. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have a number. It's like a life number. And if it shows up somewhere, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get
I
it. I'm
wanted to
seeing it.
ask you
I'm
about
hearing
that
it.
too, because you said that
Mhm.
4 was your life number. So what does that mean? Where does that come from?
So 4 is actually like my birth number, like my numerology. Like, have you done like that's like my life path number, like my signal number 27, like it's always a sign, and that's just been a sign for me. But 4 is my life path. And that's basically when you add together your birthday, your birth year, like you add all the numbers together. Have you ever done that?
I have, but it's maybe one time, and I don't even remember. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a number, 1 through I don't know, like 9, 10, 11, depending, and then it'll tell you all sorts of things about your purpose, with the numerology. It's
Yeah.
numerology.
Yeah.
So yeah, my birthday is a 4, like when you break it all down,
Okay, I see
and
what you're saying. Yeah, when you add it all up
yeah,
and whatever, it ends up being a 4.
yeah,
So that's your life number. I should
yeah.
figure out what mine is. I probably did it sometime and I don't remember. Thank you, Little Wing, for banning our spam guy. And
I know.
then
Look, I was
yeah,
coming with the band hammer, and
and
like I
Little
was,
Wing's on
and
it.
she already had it. It was she had the hammer out before I even could get it out. Yeah,
She
so
just has it ready, and as soon as they come, she's like,
she's
"No."
good. She's the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Salty Frog said, "The last class I took, I received the receipt for it at 11:11."
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Justice is swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look up the numerology thing again. But yeah, 22 is definitely one of my crazy numbers. All right. So I
So would
kind
you
of
say for someone like me who maybe doesn't pay attention maybe to the spiritual things that are happening as much as you and medium Jenny Lee,
at least you admit
it's
it.
are numbers something that we should pay more attention to?
I feel like if you're attracted to them and moved by them, it can be like very symbolic. Like when I was first going through like a huge awakening, every time I saw a repeating number, I'd run and look up what like the angel number meant, and then it would have significance for me. But for me now, it's just anytime I see like certain special numbers, for me, it's just a personal signal. And I think we all have our different ways of connecting
Hmm.
with the universe, and it's what shows up for you and what feels meaningful for you.
Yeah,
Like that's the way I feel like it.
I would agree. Moonlight Maggie said that hers is 9 and Little Wings is 11.
Those are, yeah, those are great. Those are great numbers.
Awesome. Now I want to do mine. I'll have to do it after this. So I kind of know of some of the answer to this question, but our viewers don't. How do you prepare for your readings?
Oh, I'm getting better and better at it. It used to take me probably like an hour of just getting in a good space, meditating, getting by myself, which is challenging when you have
Hmm.
kids and all kinds of
Hmm.
stuff going on in your life. Um,
Yes.
but the big things I do is I've like learned to have signals, kind of like to my spirit guides and stuff, to like come and join me into my mental space. Like, this is where we're going. That now I'll start lighting the candles on my desk. I will start getting the cards organized. I will start choosing what deck. And then I'll start thinking about like what the reading is I'm going to do. And I'll kind of tell my subconscious, like, okay, like this is happening. So I'll do all sorts of little things that signal me that it's time. I'll light incense, that sort of thing. And then right before my reading, I get really, really still and I try to go into no mind. And if you're familiar with that, it's like where you stop thinking and all of that for at least 16 seconds or more. And it gets me out of my mental space and into like my heart chakra. So that is what I do right before I start reading.
I've been trying to do that too, but I didn't know it had a name.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if that's the official name.
Well, I guess
But-
anytime you're meditating, you kind of are trying to get to that space where you're
right.
not thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
And
so
sometimes,
hard.
yeah, sometimes you just can't get there. And
No.
sometimes, yeah.
Because it just,
Sometimes the
your
mental
brain
chatter
just
will show.
keeps going and like you don't even
Mhm.
want it to. And it's like, what's going on in there? Like, just shut up already. Yeah.
Right.
I don't need to think about washing the dishes right now. I'm trying to get ready for this reading.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a little breathing technique too that I do that kind of gets me out
Mhm.
of like that mental chattery space too, that really helps. So,
Yeah, I was just watching it was like a talk with a guy who does trans mediumship, and I guess during like when you're training to be a trans medium, medium, trans medium, there's no other word that goes with it. They have all these weird breathing exercises where it sounded like it's almost like they're like not getting as much oxygen or something to kind of throw themselves out of, you know, not just their mind, but like their whole body.
mhm. I actually, when I go into deep meditation, there is a breathing technique that I will do that'll basically have me like buzzing all over, and you do like really kind of check out. Obviously, it's not unsafe or anything.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
breathing like too deeply, too fast, and it will get you
Hmm.
to another place. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird stuff. Yeah. I definitely get the tingly stuff sometimes where I feel like I'm
mhm.
like floating, like just out, above where I normally am.
Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love when that happens. I don't feel like it's necessary, but when I have like a meditation like that, I'm like I feel so good after.
Yeah. I feel like my readings are way better, as my medium readings are way better when I do that. But I don't always get there.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's just life. Sometimes we're
Yeah.
going to get all the way there and sometimes we're not. And luckily we have the knowledge and intuition to keep going even if we're not fully feeling it. And then it kicks in, doesn't it?
Yeah, usually. Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're having a real bad day.
There are some days where I'm like,
This is
okay, this is
not
not
working.
happening.
No.
I'm going to go play a game on my phone. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't working.
Try again later. Okay. Um, okay. I since I asked the last question, Jeremy, do you have another question, or
Yeah.
I've got 2 pages worth of questions here. So
Well, no, no, you know how I am. A lot of my questions were going off the history because you had told me
yeah,
that she knew a lot about the history. So we've
yeah,
gone over that, I think, a lot. So
yeah, we did. So I was we kind of mentioned earlier that your specialty is love readings, and I wanted to know, why do you feel such a connection or need to do love readings?
Oh, that's a tricky and personal question, but it's good. It's a
Well, you
good
don't
one.
you don't have to tell us
Um,
the personal
I
part if you don't want
feel
to.
like for me, there's a lot of things personally that in life are very easy, that are very simple, that I don't have to try very hard at, that come very easily to me, that might be more challenging for other people. But there's a lot of things like creativity, creatively, and just tons of things. With love, it's it's more of a challenge for me, and so I want to explore it. Like I want to understand it. I want to know more, and so it's a fascination. It's something that I
Oh my
love,
God.
and I have to admit, I love a good romance novel. I love a good movie, and so I am like a writer. I am a storyteller, and I love like a story that's got some love in it. And so I tried doing a lot of different kind of readings when I first started the channel, but I really loved seeing the interaction between people because I'm fascinated by human interaction. I feel like one of the reasons I came here was to interact with people and to get to know people. And so I just love the play of like the interaction and what you learn in love and relationships and from others. But I would say for me, my biggest fascination is because it is my biggest challenge and
Well,
I'm always learning.
that is interesting that you're not running away from it because it's a challenge. We just
Yeah.
got we just got a raid of 17 people from Yo Erica. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
the raid.
Thank you
That's
very much,
amazing.
Erica.
And thank
How
you, Doritos, Abe Doritos, for the follow. Yay, we're talking about all things tarot in here this evening.
yes. Welcome to the Witching Hours.
Yeah.
This is a show we've started doing in separately from the reading nights that Medium Jenny Lee does, where we kind of get on here to talk about all things paranormal. And
Weird.
tonight we
Weird
are
woo woo
doing
stuff.
tarot, and we are joined by Charity from Aquarius Rising Tarot, who is
Oh,
on
thank you,
who has
Yo
a channel on
Erica.
YouTube. So this is what we're doing tonight. So if you have any questions,
Tarot
chat. If you
questions.
have
Yep.
any questions about tarot reading, or I guess also numerology and stuff like that. That's what we're talking about tonight. And thank you so much, Erica, for the raid. How was your stream?
Maggie
Hopefully you had a
says,
wonderful night.
I have a question, if you may. I struggle with the moon card.
I
How
love
to
that.
explain it well? How to explain it well?
Yeah.
That's
How do you explain the moon card?
That is really fascinating because I feel like that is another one of those misconstrued cards. When a lot of people see it, they'll say there's secrecy, there's dishonesty, there's something you don't know. The moon is about our shadow, it's about our intuition, it is about unknown factors. It can mean that there are secrets and that sort of thing, but it has a lot to do with trusting your intuition and going within and recognizing the things that like, but you might not consciously know, kind of getting into your unconscious. But it depends upon the placement a lot. But it has a lot to do with your intuition, your feminine energy, going within, and the sides of ourselves that might be more vulnerable, more sensitive, and things like that. But it can mean very much that there's some confusion or that someone is keeping a secret or something like that. But it has so much to do with the cards that are around it. Jenny, what do you think?
Um, I don't know that card very well because I'm just so used to my Zen tarot deck.
Oh yeah,
But
it's in
Hmm.
tarot. Mhm.
I've pulled the moon card a couple times, and to be honest, I think I kind of went with what I knew based on what you read it as.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I have no insight into this, but I do
it
like
is,
the card. It's pretty.
yeah. It's looking into your emotional side, your more feminine side, your watery side, trusting your intuition, and that some things might still be a little in the shadows. There might be a little unknown
Hmm.
still.
Yeah,
So,
I think I got that
does
card
that,
not too long ago, and that's what it basically it was. It was like you're. It's like you know your intuition, but there's something lurking there.
mm-hmm.
That's yeah. Yeah. Maggie said, I'm happy to see my deck book explain the right meaning
Yeah. I'm thinking I have let
of
other readers mess with what I understand of the
the
cards.
cards. Yeah.
Yeah, other card. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Maggie, remember what the card means. You have the intuition, so don't let the other people's information about what it means. You got to follow what you think it means. And especially what Charity said about what the cards around it are saying, too. what is it? How does it relate to the card that? How does it relate to the card that's with it? The cards, you know what I'm saying.
You know,
Ca-
I'm gonna stick my nose into this again, and once again, kind of saying that I don't have expertise here, but I will say, Moonlight Maggie, also that the little bit that I've experienced with the spirit world or realm, that it's so, for me, it's so quiet for me. So like I have to uh it's just like random thoughts that will come into my head that don't quite make sense. And so I think that intuition, like if you have that message, even though you just think maybe it's something popping in your head for no reason, um, to go with your gut on that.
yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned very early on, is that sometimes there it's not a coincidence.
In the medium world, we call it getting out of your own way. You have to get out of your head and let your heart and your intuition speak instead of letting your mind trample all over the messages that are coming through.
Yo Erica said, I'm gonna lurk. I love this stream. Thank you, Yo Erica,
Yeah,
and thank
thank
you
you.
once again for the raid. We
Castle
really
Cutie has
appreciate it.
another question. What's your favorite card in the tarot deck right now?
Okay, is that one for me?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
I was gonna ask you guys about this because I know you both have cards that are somewhat special to you. So
Hmm.
Yeah, let me just so I can hold up the image here.
I
I
can't reach
will
mine.
show the ones, and I don't have a favorite, but when you said that, these popped into my mind. Um,
Of course, they fell on the floor.
they did. Okay, first of all, I love the Fool card, and I mean it makes sense. I'm in Aries, and this card is all about new beginnings, cleared karma, taking a leap into the unknown, pursuing your passions and all of that. But I am a sucker for the romance, and
Uh
I love
huh.
the Six of Cups. It's soulmates reuniting, and soulmates don't have to mean romantic. It's when you meet soul family, good friends, people that you used to know coming back together. It's nostalgia, it's sweet feelings. So I'm all about the excitement of the unknown with the Fool card, and the sweetness of like the reconnection in the Six of Cups. So I feel like when I see those, I'm like, new stuff happening. Oh, someone is coming back. So that's me.
There's a card that I really like in my Zen Tarot deck. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's this one. It's the Trust card because it's just a lady leaping off into nothing, and it's like basically like if you don't take the leap, if you don't take the jump, even if you don't know where you're landing, you're going to be stuck in the same place. So if you think that you need to get out of a situation, then you just have to jump sometimes. And I think that's one of my favorite cards in my Buddhist deck.
yeah,
It
nah.
reminds me of the Fool, the one that I
Yeah.
just held up, which is all about taking a
I was
leap.
thinking the same
Yeah.
thing. Yep.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
and I would imagine with the Zen, the kind of the Taoist kind of take on that deck too, is like not staying stagnant to a certain degree, like
Yeah. There's a lot of cards like
creating
that. Yeah.
creating fluidity, kind of like the water. Yeah,
Yeah. Don't
interesting.
second guess yourself, Maggie. No second guessing yourself. Just go with it. You got it. Um, okay, Maggie has a good question. What is the top three mistakes with tarot?
Oh, okay. First of all, is thinking that the same card has to have the same meaning every time. I
Hmm.
feel like that's a big mistake because the imagery is meant to awaken different things in our spirit and our psyche every time we see it. So it can have one meaning one time and one meaning another, and when it's around other cards. I feel like another mistake is to use it to try and like tell exactly what's going to happen in the future and then think that's what's going to happen, because we create our own future and the tarot tells us the direction we're headed, what our present energy is, but the future is whatever we want. So, what would you think? Do you have another one, Jenny?
I really like your first answer, that it doesn't always have to be the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I read very differently than you do, because I usually read, I have to look at the words a lot of times. And to me, it's when I'm reading it, it's what words pop out to me at the
Mm-hmm.
moment. Like, what are the things that I'm reading that are the parts that are like, oh, like I felt something. Like sometimes I physically will feel something, or I'm like,
Right.
oh, like that was the part. Like that is the part that this particular person needs to hear right now.
Yeah, like that one sentence. Like you'll kind of throw out the whole explanation and take that
Yeah,
one sentence,
yeah,
almost like you're, yeah, kind of being guided on.
yeah.
Yeah,
It might be a word, it might be a couple words, it might be a phrase. Sometimes it's a sentence. Yeah, and then yeah, I think for Charity, it's more about the imagery, which I think I'll get there too, because I think we're always our the way that we do things is always evolving and changing, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the way that I read 5 years from now is going to be completely different than the way I read right now. All right, we have lots of
yeah.
comments. Let's see. Little Wing said, "I love that so much." Maggie said, "Oh my god, I love that card. One of my teachers once told me, jump and the safety net will appear." Absolutely.
Mm, yes.
So that one is just true. That
Yep.
is,
If you're following your heart,
yeah,
100%. Yep.
Yes. Little Wing said,
and
"I pulled that one
yeah.
once for her." Yes, I remember that. And Starlight. Oh, hey, Starlight. Love the question and answers. And then Maggie said, "You do that a lot with medium readings, feeling into your body." Absolutely. Yeah, like when I'm trying to figure out how somebody passed, like that's pretty much the only way I can decipher how they passed, is because I feel it somewhere on my body. Maggie said, "I translated it. It sounds weird. We might need to work on the words." Oh, yeah, because Maggie speaks French, because she's from
Oh.
Canada. French Canadian, eh?
I don't know if French Canadians say "a" though.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I'm French Canadian. Half.
They say something else.
But
Maggie
yeah.
will have to tell us what they say. But
Yeah,
we
and
love Maggie. We don't care
yeah,
when she feels like her English isn't great. It's good. It's good,
bonjour.
Maggie.
Yeah.
It's good.
Bonjour.
Oui, la fromage. The cheese. Oh, you say sorry a
Nadie
lot?
aquí que habla española.
Yeah, and Charity's got all her Spanish going on there.
Yeah, I'm like, nobody speaks Spanish here. If you do, that I can help with.
I took 4 semesters of Spanish, and I can talk enough to get by a little bit, but I wish I could have immersed myself a little bit more when I was taking it. To I, I, the conjugation is my
That's
downfall.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can bring it back at any point because I studied it for 4 years and then forgot, and then 20 years later decided to learn, and it was like that
There it
because you had that
was.
foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can
I've
immerse
started
anytime.
I've started speaking some with some of my students and stuff. I'll have
Yeah.
students who, so
That's cool.
Started trying to use it, and they think it's the most hilarious thing that's ever happened to them. But that's fine because if they're learning how to speak English, I know
Yeah.
how difficult that has to be. So I can make a
Oh
fool of
yeah.
myself. I
Yeah.
can make a fool of myself, showing them that they're better off than I am. So, all right.
Yep. I've got more
Oh,
questions.
sí, entiendes un poquito. Maggie.
Tiny, tiny bit. All right. My next question on my page is here. So I know that you connect with spirit when you're doing your readings. And this is funny that I wrote this down like weeks ago. Are there specific guides that you know that help you?
I met my guides several years ago, and I have certain ones, but I got to the point where I sort of went beyond and I really got into like my highest, higher self, because I feel like our guides are almost like different parts of our psyche and our like personal experience. And then you just get into like the highest high part of self, and then you can connect in with the highest part of anybody else's self.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where I go. Yeah. But I do have my guides and I feel them around me, and I know, and I have certain ones,
And you
and I
did
sort
talk
of have an
about
awareness.
the ancestor
Yeah.
that taught you the Gypsy Tarot
Yeah.
ways, which is awesome. Yeah. Oh, posture check, wonder. Thank you. Yeah. Did you see me fidgeting around like? Ooh.
So here's the question: do those apply to me now too? Like, do I have to do costume changes? I don't know if we.
If you have any, you got anything up there?
I don't
You can
have a
come get a
baseball
hat or
hat.
something.
But,
I got all kinds of
uh,
stuff in my box over here.
Moonlight Maggie said, "Remember the time you did a medium reading with me, Jenny, and you saw my higher self?"
Yes. Yes, I do. And I feel like, didn't we have some guides that were with you too, Maggie, one time? It was like a male and female or something. Yeah, sometimes I do see people's guides when we're doing the medium readings instead. And then last week, um, who was it? Pega from Portugal. I'm pretty sure I connected with some weird ancestor of hers. It kind of really reminds me of Charity's when she was talking about having the ancestor and the gypsy ancestor in the tent. Like, I saw this woman who clearly looked Portuguese, and she was in like some kind of ancient kitchen that was made of stones, and like, we're not going to know who she is, you know.
So
But
cool though.
she was somebody for her, like, I don't know if it was a past life or if it was an ancestor or whatever it was, but yeah, that one was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen some
interesting.
assaulties too. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's a question.
Oh yeah, the robes. Why are they always wearing robes? Charity, have you ever seen any guides wearing robes before? Because all the ones I see do.
Couple. I've
Yeah.
seen a couple wear robes. Yeah. Yeah. I would have to say I do have one that kind of floats and wears a robe and like reminds me of Gandhi.
Wow. Yeah. I saw one of mine wearing a robe, and then somebody else's I saw wearing robes too that I did a reading
Hmm.
for.
Silver robes.
It might have,
I feel like
Got
they're
yeah.
comfortable if you're around for millions of years, like we
Yeah.
are in the other, a
Yeah.
robe.
It's like wearing a
Well,
dress.
the Wanderer says exactly what I was thinking, and that's that if I were a guide, I would wear a robe
Right?
for sure.
Yes.
They want to be comfortable.
Same.
Yeah, that's funny.
They want to be comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they look nice and warm too. They look like nice warm
Right.
robes. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I bet,
okay.
Oh,
that might be the image that they want to project because I think
yes, I was gonna say that.
Mhm.
we we have a connection with what the robe means. A
Hmm.
sage, a
Yeah.
mage, an academic, someone who knows things, and so that might be the reason that they present themselves in that.
Yeah, Maggie said, "Don't be average when you can be a guide."
Yeah.
Why would they come dressed in
That way we
something
know who the guys
else?
are.
Yeah.
And if you're wearing jeans and a Metallica shirt,
Yeah. No.
I don't know if I'm listening to you or not,
You clearly don't seem like you have the spiritual know-how. It's got to be a robe. All right. Next question. What is the favorite deck that you own? What is your favorite deck that you own?
Oh my goodness. I think it is my traditional Rider Waite, but it's this one that's sort of, I have two, and this one has like this darker energy, the with the stars here. And then I have also a Rider Waite that's like this one here that's more the plaid, but I tend to use this one as my feminine
Mm.
deck, and it's a Rider Waite, and I feel like that one I've probably connected with the most. And so I don't know, it just never steers me wrong. So, but it's a Rider Waite. It's just a traditional, although I really love some other decks that are not traditional.
Why does the one with the stars on it feel more feminine to you?
It's interesting. I feel like the feminine energy is more of like the unseen, the unknown, whereas the masculine energy is more conscious. It's the things we see, the things we know. I feel like feminine energy is like the stars, the moon, space, and so it's almost like, I don't know, I can't remember if the dark or the light side of the yin yang is the feminine or masculine, but to me I see like the feminine energy as a darker, more like I don't know, like the more shadowy energy, and then the masculine to me just feels very bold
Yeah.
and concrete,
I'm
and it's
here.
here, and it's things, yeah,
I'm
yeah, it's
wearing
like
plaid.
it's the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, yeah, so
I
this is the
have a
unconscious
flannel
mind.
shirt on.
Yeah, right. It's our conscious mind. Like, yeah, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
glad.
I'm a lumberjack. I'm
Me-
okay. Yeah.
I work all night and I sleep all night.
So what deck that is not the traditional Rider Waite one is your favorite?
um,
Because I know you got
it,
quite a few.
I know. I feel like the mystical manga I like a lot because I really love like anime, Studio Ghibli movies.
Yeah.
Is it Ghibli? Tell
I
me.
don't know. I don't know how to pronounce
Um,
anything. You're asking the wrong
and
person.
what's that?
I said you're asking the wrong person. I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Oh.
What is it?
But I love, like, this one has like a lot of like light colors and playfulness about it. Um there's a couple that I really like. But yeah, this one's, it's kind of light. It's also real feminine.
Hmm.
Then there's a couple others. I just have to show them. I like the Tarot Grand Deluxe a
I
lot
think
because
that's my favorite that you have.
yes,
Yeah.
I have this big connection with history, royals, medieval times, things like that. So I'm kind of obsessed with like that
Yeah.
very royal, castly imagery. But I have to say, there's some really cool ones. Like my son got me this, and
Oh,
I
cool.
don't use it a lot in readings because the imagery is a little dark for my like
Oh,
traditional
yeah.
like love channel. But the imagery is very, very powerful and very unusual. And it brings out like different things to my mind. And so I really love that. But it's it's kind of edgy. It's a little
Oh,
punk.
yeah.
It's a whole side of myself that people on my regular channel don't get to see as much. I'm a little
You,
badass.
you you'd
So
need a
yeah.
special reading for just those. Yeah.
I know I should. I should do on Patreon, like one with every deck.
Oh,
So
yeah, that'd be cool.
and
See all your
I
different
have to show
ones.
you two others just because they were gifts. One is the cat
The
tarot.
cat tarot. I've seen a lady use
Yes.
those on Twitch before. Yeah.
It's wonderful. My daughter just got it for me. I actually had someone ask me if I could read their cats, and it actually worked.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then then I have this, which is my oldest tarot deck. It's vintage. A friend of mine who sent it to me as like completely by surprise with like no name, no where it's
Oh
from.
wow.
And so it showed up. But it's from like the late
Uh,
60s, early 70s, and it
those are
goes way
cool.
back to the traditional tarot that the royals used. So
Those are neat.
way back. So I love that too.
Those are cool.
Sorry, I
Very
got a
interesting.
little crazy.
No, that's good. That's
I
good.
love my decks.
All the people here like tarot, so they're interested to see
Right?
all these different decks.
So
Yeah,
you like the
Maggie,
Grand Deluxe too.
I do. Probably because it has a lion on the front.
That's
That's
you.
why.
You're...
Yeah. I have to like that one the most. There's a lion on the front.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, Maggie, at first I did think you meant train, like, choo choo. And I was like,
Yeah,
what? Oh, yeah, a train. Maggie
yeah,
said she wants a robe that has like a wedding dress train on the back. If she's a guy,
yeah.
that'd be her outfit.
And I was just doing an example of how messed up the English language is that you could spell it that way,
Oh, with a
but
G in
that's
there
not.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And like an H, yeah, you could make it all kinds of messed up, and it would work somehow.
Yeah.
Um,
Nobody knows how to pronounce Studio Ghibli or whatever.
Yeah, I
Nobody
think it's Studio
knows.
Ghibli. That's what
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But yeah, could
Yeah.
be wrong.
my guess would be Ghibli, but I could be completely wrong.
Who knows? It's a G and a H
Um,
together. We're not
Right.
uh,
we're not from Finland or something. We don't know how to
They're
pronounce that.
yeah.
wonderful movies.
I Little Wing said, "I want my next reading to be with those."
Was it the
Oh,
cat one? The
the
cat?
60s ones or the cat ones?
I think it might have been the cat ones. Cat
They're
tarot.
I'll let her
so
know.
fun.
They're
And they have all
cute.
the traditional meanings. Like they have
Yeah.
all the cups and the wands and everything. Yeah. They're so
Yeah.
funny though, because there's things like the death card is like a vacuum. That's hate the vacuum. It's so funny.
Okay.
And so the humor is really great. I
Yeah.
actually did 1 month a bunch of readings with those as the
With the cat.
clarifiers, and it was really fun.
Oh yeah, Little Wing said it just dawned on her that me and Charity are a perfect astrological match because we're Aries and Leo. Yep.
We
She wants the
are.
dark ones.
Oh,
She
Little
wants
Wing
the
wanted the
dark
dark
cards.
ones. I thought she wanted
Yeah.
the cat ones. No, she was
Oh,
going.
okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
this is the Lost Hollow. It's a really cool deck, probably the fanciest one I have. It was a gift from my son, and they're very cool, like very different from any deck I've ever seen. So,
Awesome. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
there's so many cool
so
decks out
many
there.
kinds of decks. It's
mm-hmm.
crazy.
I saw the
Craziness.
last week, I think it was last week, the person we rated after your stream was
Yeah.
using the Alice in Wonderland deck. And
Yep.
we know that you
Oh,
would
I
love
want one
that.
of those.
Yeah.
I love Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, that lady has a
Yeah.
whole Alice in Wonderland themed Twitch channel, and that's what she uses. Is
Yeah.
the Alice in Wonderland deck.
Priestess of, and if you want to follow her,
Priestess of
we've created
Wonderland,
a lot
right?
of Priestess of Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good
excellent. Oh,
stuff.
so the next question I had, and I don't know, I don't know if you have done any of this, so feel free to, if you don't do this at all, that's fine. But do you incorporate any kind of past life regression or past lives with your readings? Is that something you've done or do?
Well, I made her do it.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. A
okay.
lot of people don't know that I actually very strongly specialize in past lives because it's not something you can really do on a public channel because it's so personal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like a past life reading, like how would you do that for 1,000 people?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so personal. But I will see, even when I'm doing a personal reading, past lives and things come up. And sometimes, even in my like regular monthly readings, and I'm like, oh, that's somebody's specific story. Do I share it? Do I not? But past lives, I can actually see, like, even when I meet people, often something that they used to be, a different gender or a way that they look, different clothes, and era. Like I can see past lives. I don't. It's something I've done since I was a kid. So it's something I specialize in, but I've not really expanded on in my channel, but I see it a lot when I'm doing readings.
Yeah. And
Excellent.
I got the past life tarot reading from her, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
they're
right.
so fun.
Yeah. And it answered
Uh,
a lot of questions I had about weird stuff.
and I asked that because that that's something that we've been talking about you doing in your channel because I think that's something a lot of people have curiosity about.
Hmm.
We've seen people kind of really get into that in chat in this stream about doing past lives, and I know that Jenny's been trying to figure out a way to kind of do a group of to do a
Yeah.
past life
We would
regression.
have to
So
meet in a group and not on Twitch though. Like it would
yeah,
have to be, yeah,
in Discord or
something
something.
different.
Yeah.
Like you said, it can't really be out in the open, like with the public.
Yeah,
Like,
it gets
yeah.
so personal.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done a couple past life regressions like in a group at like a magic shop or whatever. And yeah, they can get really
Hmm.
personal.
They
Um,
can trigger you too. Sometimes things will come up and it's like, and it just explains so much. And so it can be very
mm,
emotional too.
I think one of the first past life regressions I did, I was a lady who died in childbirth. And like, I was in tears like for a long for, while it's happening and a long time afterwards, 'cause it was like so traumatic.
I
So
have a
yeah.
past life that I died in childbirth. It was a couple weeks after, but it was all due to complications. Like, that's crazy. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
Whoa.
but mine was like while the baby's coming out.
Oh God, that's heartbreaking.
And so I never got to hold the baby or see the
Oh,
baby or anything. And like just saw myself floating up in the ceiling.
oh my
And like
gosh.
she's like freaking out, like, my baby, my baby. And
Oh
that's it.
no.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was awful.
that's hard to recover from. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to spend time with my son before I crossed over in that life. I
Yeah.
mean, it may have been like 9 days later.
But the thing that I realized from seeing that is because, in this life, I've always been overweight my whole life. And in that life, I was this tiny little underfed girl.
Oh,
And I think that's why she died, because her body couldn't handle it.
yeah,
So I can see why I never would have picked a body like that again, because I wouldn't want to
yeah.
go through that again. So then I was like, I felt better about the body I have now because I was able to push out 3 kids without any problems.
Right. I love that. It is really true when we make our choices to come in the bodies we choose. We want to have better experiences,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's different than what we think it's.
So Maggie had a question. Why do we connect more with traumatic past lives? But I think we just kind of answered that, right? Like I had to see that because I needed to know why I decided to have this body, because I've always hated this particular body, and that was one of the things that helped me move past that. That I realized it was for a purpose. And I think any kind of traumatic past life thing that you experience, you're seeing it for a reason that should hopefully help you with something you're going through right now in this life. Would you agree, Charity?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really healing. A lot of times we come here to heal old traumas and things like that. And so we will connect in with those things. But I connect in with some pretty positive past lives too when I read for people. So different things.
You need help understanding one of your lives. Yeah, we could probably do that. Maybe Friday if you're in here. Oh, and then when you were writing it, you got the answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That's
that's all it
amazing.
takes. It's like seeing it from a different perspective. It wasn't just in here, you were putting it out. You're getting it out of yourself. Well, that's good, Maggie. Yay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
next
And
question.
sometimes just sometimes there's just a
Yeah.
lesson in each one that makes you appreciate something that you have in this life.
Hmm.
So
Yep. Like big bones pushing them babies out.
yeah.
Right.
Um, what do you still want to learn about tarot?
Oh, everything. The more I study it, the more complex I
Yeah.
realize that it is. One of the big things is a lot of the imagery was created with very specific meaning behind it. And I know basic things like when you see water, when you see a blindfold, and things like that. But all of the imagery has really specific things. And I feel like it would be fun to consciously know that, even though I pick up on different things that I
Hmm.
need for the person, what their spirit wants to hear because of what I see, there is specific meaning to every
Yeah.
single image in a
It's
traditional tarot card. And I don't know them
it
all.
all
Like,
has
I do not.
symbology.
Yeah.
It's all
And I would
symbology.
love to learn. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying it's all symbology.
Yeah.
Symbols, yeah.
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 Um, and specifically, there are traditional meanings whenever you see like certain cards together.
Oh.
And I would love to know that more consciously. I pick up on different things when I see cards together, but I would love to know what does it mean when you see like I don't know, like the King of Pentacles with the Six of Wands, and I
Yeah.
immediately have something come to my mind that would mean for me. But there's a lot of traditional things I feel when with certain cards and the dualities of what they mean together specifically. And I'd love to know more of that.
Oh, thank you for the follow, Indie Rock Queen. Yay. Maggie said guides are sending messages. That's good, Maggie.
Wait.
Yay. I got on a website that breaks it up for us and it really explains the story behind tarot, and it really helped me when I bought my deck. Oh, cool.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
know there's so much more to learn.
Yeah. You can never, there's always more to learn. Never stop learning.
That's
For
that
sure.
that's always the thing. The more you learn about something, the more you
More
realize
questions there are.
you, like you think you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be at some point you think you're gonna ascend to being like this master. And I think the opposite usually happens. I know it was that way for me in history. Like I was like, oh, I got my bachelor's in history, and now I have a master's in history, and now I'm gonna know everything there is to know about history. Except now I just realized there's all this stuff I don't know about history. And I just feel like I just feel like I'm a complete moron because I should know all this stuff and I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. So I imagine we can apply that to tarot as well. Like the more
Yeah.
you think you learn about it, the more there is to know.
So
And
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
I found that so true with many things, music and everything else. But yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So let's see. We're coming up on it's a little bit past 9:30 here on the East Coast. So if you have any more questions, go ahead and get them in.
And I'm gonna put in her this is her YouTube channel. There's so many
Yeah.
amazing videos on there. So go watch them. And
Thank you.
she does personal readings and they're amazing, life changing. Me and Frosty and Little Wing have all had personal readings done. They're amazing. So make sure you go check out her YouTube channel and website and all that stuff. She's everywhere just like I am.
Yeah. And there's
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And I do want to say, if anybody has joined here because you know me, because I did post on my channel. I don't know if you're here, but these are two dear friends of mine. I have known them and loved them for how long? Over 20
Aw.
years. We've all been friends,
Close
and
to
they're
it, yeah.
both amazing, talented, gifted people.
Oh,
So
thanks.
yeah, and I feel really honored to be able to show up with you all. And I hope we
Yeah.
can do something again because I know you're doing like the paranormal, and
Mhm.
I know a lot of cool ghost stories. So
Yeah.
I want to come on like one of your spooky shows sometime
Yeah.
too.
well, that sounds like a deal.
Yeah.
So
Ghost
I
night number 2.
I've had I had an idea, and I haven't even talked to Jenny about this yet. But you guys can talk. If we wanted to do another spooky show, we could possibly do one before Christmas. Because that was one of the original things that was done for Christmas was ghost stories. So it was more of a spooky
Yeah.
holiday than it is now. So maybe a night of
Yeah.
ghost storytelling could be another show for
Yeah.
Christmas, but we'll see what you guys want to do.
Yeah. And if
Um,
Charity's willing to come and join
Yeah,
us.
that would be so fun. I also know a lot of like funky like ghost stories from Mexico. So
Oh, yeah.
mm,
yeah. So that's kind of fun too. So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of interesting things. So
We'll take all the ghost stories. All of them. Yes, spooky Christmas. And then
that would be fun.
Starlight said, "What an amazing platform to be able to come together and share insight." I agree.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I have one last question. We've made it through my 2 pages of questions. Last
Well,
question is, why do you think tarot is so helpful?
oh my goodness. Um Well, I am like a psychic reader and an intuitive reader, and I can actually read without the tarot, but the tarot guides me and shows me like it's like a real quick way to come into someone's energy, and it guides me on really what to talk about with them, and it helps me focus my energy. But I believe it's because it's gone back for so many years. There's so much symbolism, and just like you were saying, the spiritualists, the Christians, the gypsies, there for so many years it's been built for so long that there's thought forms around all of this imagery, and you get help sort of from the universe because of all the thought. It's kind of like what we started talking about with when you were talking about quantum physics and how consciousness
Mhm.
doesn't die and things like that. There is a consciousness around each one of these cards that we can tap into and know more than we know. It's like we can tap into our higher knowledge and higher learning because these have been handed down through the ages. So I feel like it's a tool because there's so much more to it than what we realize. But for me, it tells me what to talk about.
I
Mm.
really like that. Like, I definitely feel like I need to consciously be thinking about that now. Like, tapping into the wealth of knowledge that's built around the
Yeah.
cards. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as someone
Oh,
as
another
looking from the
follow.
reader,
Thank you, Sabrina.
looking from the from the point of view of someone who is getting the reading, I feel like a lot of times it's just confirmation or things that you didn't think about before the reading, but it was already there. Like
Mm.
Hmm.
it's just like why didn't I see that before? Like you already kind of it was in your consciousness. You didn't
Yes.
you just didn't acknowledge it, you know. So
Thanks, Bella, for contributing to
yeah,
the
thank
tarot
you.
giveaway. How close are we now?
Let's see. We are 48%,
Oh, getting close.
almost halfway
Halfway,
there to
almost
a
halfway to the
30-minute
30-minute giveaway.
tarot reading giveaway.
Yay!
Oh, and I have to tell you all, everyone, I had my first reading from Medium Jenny Lee, like my first personal reading. And I cried probably 4 times. She brought, like, one of my spirit guides showed up, and I knew it helped me, like, understand the spirit guide that's been around me for a while. And her insight was so incredible. If anyone is thinking about getting a personal reading, I'm still shook from it. What was it,
Oh,
yesterday morning that I
yeah.
watched it?
Yesterday.
And it lit up so many things. But it's like what Frost was saying. There's things that you're conscious, like that you're aware of unconsciously, but the readers bring it to your conscious mind. And you're like, oh my goodness, I knew that, but I didn't know it. And you hear the readers say it out loud, and all of a sudden there's so much clarity. And I felt like that with Jenny. So highly
Oh,
recommended for
thank you.
anyone. It was the best experience. And I'm gonna order another one because I want to get to know that spirit guide a little more. Do you think that's something you can help me with?
We could always do a medium reading instead,
I'm
where
really wanting to know about that.
we try to
So
talk to her and instead
Yeah,
of doing tarot. Yeah.
but both of you would have to agree. But maybe sometime we can do one of these where we can do a reading or something also in it.
I would
It'd be
love that.
interesting to see you guys. Maybe we could do that next time as well. Run our ghost stories or something.
Yeah.
Do a
That would be
Christmas
really
reading or
fun.
something. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
interesting.
It'd be interesting to see us reading at the same time for the same person and like
Right? Can
Mm.
you
what they
imagine?
got. Yeah, like what we got for them.
Yeah, Little Wing says yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
I think that could be very interesting.
That's a lot of exclamation
Yes.
points.
I think it'd be a
Yeah.
lot of fun and fascinating.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
there was one night where there I saw it was a Saturday night and it was like I think it was 6 different people were reading together and
Whoa.
it was crazy. And what, and they would each take their little turn, saying what they got for the person, and it was really interesting. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. Yeah, if you guys are both want to do that, that would be awesome. I
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
I
that could
love
be
it. I
really
love the idea. Now that I know how to do
Yeah.
this, so you guys, I'm
yeah,
happy to like connect in. This is
Yeah.
so fun.
Oh, good. I'm so glad because we love having you here,
excellent.
and you're a wealth of knowledge. So,
Thank
like
you.
like you were saying, we could talk about anything, you know,
Mm-hmm.
ghost stories and spirit world and Lord knows what else. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, um, well, just once again, thanks for everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you for Yo Erica for the raid. That was
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much.
And we got lots of new
Thank you for all the
followers this
follows
evening.
tonight. we're 50% towards the goal now.
Tarot, right.
51.
Yep.
So we're heading there. I
I'll
know
be
we
back on
have
Friday for a reading night, so
Friday
come
night.
back at 8 o'clock for tarot and medium readings.
Yes.
Do it.
To all the Americans in chat,
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
Thanksgiving
tomorrow's
tomorrow.
Thanksgiving.
Oh
And for
yeah,
all our
happy Thanksgiving.
non-American people, enjoy the day anyway.
Yeah, have a good day.
Go eat.
Happy
Even if you're
Thursday.
Canadian or Portuguese, go eat too
Yeah.
much food tomorrow.
We'll eat
Uh,
our share of turkey for you
yeah.
and pumpkin pie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bella. I'm glad you're here. And yeah, we got the 200th follower this evening.
Salty frog.
Making
You
pies.
can't just drop what kind of pie.
Yeah, what kind of pies are you making? I made a pumpkin pie. Yep.
I made a pecan pie tonight.
So I have a pecan pie, pecans, and pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Canadian Thanksgiving's in October. What is that all about?
So there.
Why do you guys got to be weird?
And I asked last time, but I didn't get a chat. So I have a curiosity about Canadian Thanksgiving, which is like,
Yeah.
is it a big deal for you guys? And do you guys like eat turkey and pumpkin pie, or is there like
Is it
other
totally
dishes
different?
that you guys have?
Yeah.
Is there like, or do you guys like have something else that's traditional?
Like,
Or
what is Canadian Thanksgiving? What do you guys do? Starlight's having ham. Ham is acceptable on Thanksgiving. You can have ham. Salty's
ham's
making
great.
bourbon, walnut, and pumpkin. Bourbon, walnut. You trying to get everybody drunk on your Thanksgiving day?
Sounds good.
Yeah, and Little Wing made wash day cake, which she's going to bring here tomorrow, so I'm excited to try it.
It's not that big.
We have nothing in the garden. Oh, it's not as big as ours. Yeah. We do everything big here in America. You know.
We just have a couple things. I feel like other countries have more. Many countries have more holidays.
Yeah.
We just have like a couple big ones, and that's it. And then we go back to work.
Yes, immediately. Gotta work. All right. Well, I guess we ought to wrap it up. Thank you so much to Charity from Aquarius Rising Tarot for coming on to do our second episode of the Witching Hours. Yay!
Yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you too for having me. This is such an honor and so much fun. I love it. I've never done anything like this. Those of you that watch my channel, like, I don't appear, and so this is really fun to just pop in and hang out with you guys. It feels so personal. I just love it. So thank you so much for inviting me.
We'll be planning out another one for next month.
See if we can find someone into
which
raid here.
Charity might come back and do that one with us too.
I'm happy to. I'll be saving up my ghost stories if we do a spooky Christmas.
That sounds awesome. Okay, Maggie said it's pretty much the same menu, but we do it earlier because it's already too cold.
Thank you.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Australia will have a holiday for anything. Oh, yeah. Well, why not?
That's good.
Bourbon vanilla. Oh, it's not too boozy. Oh, you guys want to see my kitty cat? Here's Runa. Hi, Runa.
Oh, there's
She's
Runa.
actually down here with me this evening because I don't have cards out on the table. Hey, Mary. We're just getting ready to wrap it up.
We're going on a raid. We're going to go see Lady Luna Star.
Yep, we're raiding Lady Luna Star. All right, everybody.
Say hi. Get some readings. We'll see you guys Friday.
Yes, come back Friday. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Thank you.